whispers of redemption in the silence of my soul. Broken pieces mended, you are making me whole. Just a quiet word and the static clears away. Finding beauty in the things I never thought I'd say.
Rape, a stigma that brought forgiveness and healing. This is a survival story of unimaginable pain, spiritual confrontation, and the slow, sacred work of restoration. Before we begin today's episode of Whispers of Redemption, I want to offer a content warning. This story contains references to sexual assaults. It is shared with care, with consent, and with a deep reverence for the sacredness of healing. If this topic is too sensitive for you right now, we understand. Please feel free to skip this episode or come back to it when you're ready. You are not alone. There are stories that ask to be told, and others that demand to be honored. Today, we tell one of those stories, not because it is easy, but because silence has protected pain long enough. This is the story of a woman, we'll call her Grace, who was raped at 19 and spent the next decade carrying the weight of shame, silence, and stigma. But this is not a story about violence. It is a story about what happened after. The shattering. Grace was a university student, bright, engaged, full of potential. One night, her life changed. It happened quickly, violently, by someone she trusted, someone others respected. And just like that, her world was divided into two, before and after. She didn't report it, didn't tell anyone, not at first. But because who would believe her? Because he had a reputation. Because what were you wearing? Because were you drinking? Because shame spoke louder than truth. The silence and stigma. For years, Grace carried it alone. She went to class, got good grades, even smiled in group photos, but inside, she was hollow. She tried to pray, but the words wouldn't come. She tried to forgive, but the rage was louder than grace. And stigma? It clung to her skin like a label she'd never asked for. Damaged, used, too broken to be whole again. No one said it out loud, but she could feel it. In the silence, in the stares, in her own mirror. Dr. Eden Cole, a trauma therapist who works with survivors of sexual assault, said, One of the greatest wounds survivors faces isn't just assault, it's the way the world responds. The silence, the victim blaming, the isolation. That stigma often delays healing more than the trauma itself. The turning point. Grace reached a breaking point on a Sunday morning. She was sitting in a church she almost didn't go to. In the back row, arms folded, closed off, suspicious. The sermon was about forgiveness. She almost left. But then the pastor said something she couldn't ignore. Forgiveness doesn't mean what happened was okay. It means you are refusing to let it own your future. She didn't forgive him that day, but she started forgiving herself. The process of healing. Grace started therapy. She joined a small group for survivors. She wrote letters she would never send. She stopped pretending. And one day, years later, she said it out loud in a testimony. I was raped, but that's not my whole story. She cried as she spoke, but it wasn't weakness, it was release. The stigma broke. And in its place, something sacred rose up. Dignity, truth, freedom. The miracle of forgiveness. Grace says forgiveness didn't come like lightning. It came like morning. Slow, gentle, unexpected. She doesn't excuse what happened. She doesn't forget. But she no longer carries it alone. She says, forgiveness wasn't for him. It was for me. So I could breathe again. So I could laugh again, so I could live again. And she has. If you've been carrying silence, stigma, or shame, please know it wasn't your fault. You are not dirty. You are not alone. And you are not beyond healing. God is not afraid of your story. In fact, He's already inside of it, binding up the wounds you've been told to hide. Psalm 147 verse 3 says, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Thank you for listening to Whispers of Redemption. The story was shared with permission as a declaration that trauma doesn't have the final word. Grace does. If this episode spoke to your soul, please share it with someone you trust or someone who needs to hear. You are not your trauma, and healing is possible. I'm Chris Ifeoluwakunle Oyedokun, and I'll meet you here next time. Until then, be gentle with your soul.
In the shadows of my past, your mercy softly calls. I was trapped inside the echo, waiting for the fall. Grace like quiet thunder, breaking down my walls. Every stone I gathered is a lesson I can keep. Whispers of redemption in the silence of my soul, like a rushing wind when the lightning starts to roll. Broken pieces mended, you are making me whole. Now the story's written in the fire of my soul. Grace like quiet thunder, breaking down my walls. I can feel the shaking as the heavy spirit falls. Now I rise forgiven as your healing voice enthralls. Grace like quiet thunder, as your healing voice enthralls. Now I rise forgiven as your healing voice enthralls. Yeah. Ooh, it's so quiet now, making me whole.